Welcome to Composed with Richard Schreiber, all about mindset, creativity, and the role of a composer. In this video, I wanted to give you some very, very simple steps to solve a problem, and that problem is the ease at which people generate ideas. And a lot of people struggle to generate ideas confidently. A lot of people get stuck in the early stages of idea generation, and that should be the smoothest and quickest. You need to stop resisting that, and I'm going to give you some tips, some steps. Now, the reason I'm giving you this is because I am actually quite quick at composing, and I very rarely experience a day when I can't generate an idea that I'm happy with, and that's because I've sort of stuck to these simple steps. So step one is choose your tonality. And when I say tonality, for those of you who are not sure, it's whether you're major or minor, putting it simply. Are you going for a minor key or a major key? That's your first decision. Whether that's going to be a sound design thing, because if it's even when you're doing sound design, you're hinting at tonality. Usually people would have like a descending minor third thing going on in their sound design stuff. Even in sound design, we integrate some hint at a tonality so that it colours the piece. And that's what we're doing with tonality, we're colouring the piece. Step two is choosing your sequence from the tonality. So if you're in a minor key, you choose a minor chord sequence. Keep it simple, go for 4 chords. Just for now, 4 chords. The problem with music education is it kind of like gets you to be so overly critical about the chords you choose. It doesn't matter if they're a chord sequence that other people have used. Everybody has used every chord sequence ever, so just choose one that you like. 4 chords. It could be, say, in the key of A minor, it could be A minor, G, F, D minor. It could be A minor, F, C, G. Whatever it is, you choose 4 chords. So that was step 2. Step 3. Now, step 3 is kind of like multiple steps, but once you've got your tonality, you know the feeling, the mood of the piece. Once you've got your chords, that then dictates what you're going to do from here on in. I generally choose the instruments from here, and what I would do is I would sketch out the chord sequence throughout the whole length of the cue. So using a piano, usually. Just playing the chords through, just copy it, loop it, there we go. That's my structure, because then I've got something to play with, something to mold and move. So this step is choosing your instruments that you're going to be using in your piece. So if you're doing an orchestral one, load up an orchestral template. If you're doing sound design, choose your sound palette, because you already know the structure. You already know. If you're doing sound design, you might not choose a chord sequence per se, but the tonality for sure, and you might have a chord that you're going to be choosing or referencing. Then from there, step 4 is to choose your patterns. All of the songs, all of the pieces of music we listen to, they have patterns. Whether you call them riffs, whether you call them ostinatos, whether you call them bass lines, whatever, you choose your patterns. And don't get stuck to a pattern. If you don't like a pattern, you don't need to use it. Just choose something simple. So for instance, I might write a string ostinato, a piano arpeggio, a bass riff, a bass line. These are my patterns. There will generally be recurring things throughout. Step 5 is choosing the melody. And the melodies usually, and to make it simple and easy for you, the melodies will stick to the tonality of the chords. You will be using chord tones and using passing notes or neighbour tones, whatever, to jump between the chord tones. Or you're just going chord tone, next chord tone. You're just using the chords and using those as the template for your melody. Melodies don't have to be overly complicated. In fact, with a lot of cinematic music, the simpler the better, and that goes across the board, by the way. And then once you've done that, you've chosen a simple melody. Do not overcomplicate it. Then you've got step 6, which is flesh out the cue. Step 6 is obviously multiple things going on, but those are the simplest steps to get your sketch going and done very, very quickly. Don't get attached to the ideas. The ideas are flowing through you. But the reason I'm saying don't get attached to them, because you'll generate more. You'll generate more and more and more and more. We are sharing our gifts. So those are the steps that are going to help you get quicker and find composing and generating ideas much, much easier. I hope you enjoy them. Go and practice it now.